This week, we're returning to atmosphere, where we'll talk more about how atmosphere is used to make your acting more truthful and dynamic right after this. Hi, the Inspired Actor here. If you're new to this channel, we are dedicated to helping actors become better artists by offering these quick, roughly 10-minute acting lessons. Just a quick reminder, we have about 50 of these on our channel so far, so check them out. And if you want to see more videos like these, go ahead and subscribe so you'll be notified as soon as they come out. Also, take a moment before you forget and hit that like button, as it really helps me out. And if you know people who might like these videos, please don't hesitate to share them on your social media outlet of choice. Without atmosphere, we are imprisoned on the stage. Michael Chekhov. If you haven't watched my videos before, then I should let you know that this is the second video in my series on atmosphere. If you missed the first one, I'll put a link to it in the notes. But basically, in my last video, I talked about what atmosphere is and how atmosphere works for the actor. Now let's dig a little deeper and talk about the two types of atmosphere and the difference between them. The first atmosphere is what Michael Chekhov called general or overall atmosphere. The general atmosphere can be defined as an intangible, dominant feeling, mood, or quality that is specific to a space or event. This type of atmosphere is external to the actor and the character. It affects everyone in the atmosphere. An example of this might be a general atmosphere of heavy mourning that one might experience at a funeral. One does not need to have been acquainted with the dearly departed to feel this atmosphere. You simply need to enter the space to feel the mood, and you don't need to be a great actor to be able to feel an atmosphere like that pretty acutely. However, this is not to say everyone must react to the atmosphere in the same way. There might be someone at that funeral who hated the deceased. They might even be glad he's dead. Woo! The general atmosphere doesn't change because that person feels the way they do. Everyone has a reaction to a general atmosphere that is specific to them. However, the general atmosphere remains the same no matter how an individual might react to it. Another example of this might be a party with an atmosphere of festive celebration. Many people might react to a general atmosphere like that in the way one would expect. But some may not. A person might hate parties and be really uncomfortable. Whoa. But that does not mean that the atmosphere of the party changes overall, just that it affects the person in an individual way. The second type of atmosphere is called personal atmosphere. This atmosphere doesn't belong to the space, but to the character specifically. You know that guy who always seems to be walking under a cloud? That's a personal atmosphere. Specifically, personal atmosphere is an overall mood or feeling that a character always has. That's not to say that a character always feels exactly the same way their personal atmosphere dictates, but that the character's personal atmosphere always colors or filters his or her feelings as they are expressed. Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh may actually feel happy sometimes, but his atmosphere of gloomy pessimism will always color his feelings in a unique way that is specific to him. A personal atmosphere is fairly consistent and rarely ever changes within the confines of the story. If it does, then it's a huge event in that character's life and possibly the climax of the story being told. Ebenezer Scrooge's personal atmosphere might be irritable miserliness.
I wish to be left alone, sir. That is what I wish. I don't make myself merry at Christmas, and I cannot afford to make idle people merry.
And that will remain the same throughout the story until the end, when his personal atmosphere changes completely to joyful generosity.
We'll find the right doctors to get him well, and we will get him well, you know, Bob.
The whole point of the story is for that change to happen, so it makes sense that its changing would be the climax of the story. On the other hand, Frodo Baggins' personal atmosphere of virtuous strength never changes throughout The Lord of the Rings.
I'm glad to be with you, Samwise Gamgee. Here at the end of all things.
No matter what happens to him, he remains essentially the same character with the same personal atmosphere. 9 out of 10 times, the characters you play will have one overall trait or quality that colors everything they do, and their personal atmospheres will not change. This is great for the actor because it gives us a foundation on which we can build a fully realized, multidimensional, and truthful character. Returning to general atmosphere, there are some traps that a lot of actors fall into that I want to highlight so that you can avoid them. First, when working with atmosphere, particularly when doing an atmosphere exercise in class, I see many students pantomiming or overtly trying to show the atmosphere being worked on. For example, let's say I want the actors to step into the atmosphere of a beach in the summertime. Suddenly I see actors sunbathing or playing in the water or playing beach volleyball or some such activity that one might actually see on any number of beaches in the summer. This is not really what atmosphere is and is actually very limiting. Yes, if the play or movie takes place on a beach and you are on stage or on a sound stage and far away from an actual beach, then sense memory is really important in that situation. Sense memory, the ability to recall tangible physical sensations and play them truthfully in your acting, is a vital skill for all actors to have. But what many actors miss is that they also need a different kind of memory, an extrasensory memory that recalls not only the physical sensations of a place or event, but how it feels to be in that place or at that event or living in that state of being. This is the skill that working in atmosphere is actually trying to develop. For me, stepping onto a beach, I feel a mix of relaxation, awe, and excitement that's kind of hard to describe. There's something calming about the waves crashing to shore, and looking out at the endless sea, I can't help but feel a sense of awe at how big the ocean is. I'm also excited because a beach in summertime has so much activity and there's so many fun things to do. I could go swimming or grab a snack from a vendor or just lie on my beach towel for a while and soak up some sun. That intangible feeling of being on the beach is what we are trying to create. And if we can capture it, then we can imaginatively place that feeling anywhere. Maybe my character walks into a space, a party, or someone's office, and the atmosphere is exactly like a beach in summertime.
Thinking of you's working up my appetite, looking forward to a little afternoon delight.
By receiving that atmosphere, then you may be inspired to make all kinds of unexpected choices during the course of the scene, and it will be completely 100% truthful because that's what happens in life all the time. We may be walking into a dentist's office, but it's definitely got a gothic horror atmosphere attached to it. We may be going out on a date, but it's got an atmosphere of quiet desperation. We may be in the hospital delivery room, but there's an atmosphere of breathtaking wonder. And that very same beach might have an atmosphere of impending doom. That brings me to another issue that often arises when working with atmosphere. It isn't specific enough. The more specific an idea you are working with as an actor, the more potential it has to inspire your imagination to unexpected results. This is the same with objective, sense memory, emotional memory, or atmosphere. We actors work in the medium of specifics. So while working with an atmosphere of beach is fine and will spark your imagination, working with beach in the summertime will do more. And then moving to the feeling that the beach inspires, specifically like buzzing relaxation or peaceful hubbub, might trigger a more specific and inspired response. There really is no wrong way to do it. Maybe you might want to start with something broad like beach and gradually narrow it down to a more specific atmosphere until you find something that really gets the juices flowing. And starting with some pantomime on the beach might be good to just remind yourself physically what a beach feels like, especially if it's been a while since you've been on one. Just remember that the end goal is the feeling of the beach, not the tangible experience of being on a beach. So don't work the pantomime longer than is needed. Use it to get to the feeling, not as an end to itself. One more thing that you should watch out for when it comes to general atmosphere is the rule of one. In other words, When two separate general atmospheres begin to form in the same space, one of those atmospheres will fight to dominate the other until the subordinate atmosphere disappears. Going back to the funeral atmosphere, one person being secretly glad that he's dead may not change the overall atmosphere. But if a whole bunch of people who are glad he's dead show up to the funeral, then that overall atmosphere can change.
And if I had a cannon, I would fire it to answer a celebration time.
Even one person alone can change the general atmosphere completely. Someone entering with bad news during a party can completely change the atmosphere from celebration to mourning, or vice versa. The dominant atmosphere is usually naturally apparent, but may be a choice that either you or your director has to make. But that's what rehearsal is for. Don't sweat it too much. Next time, we'll talk more about atmosphere, and I'll provide some specific exercises that you can try. So if you want to be the first to be notified when that video comes out, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. See you later, colleagues.